If you're not totally comfortable with your Swedish when you start applying for jobs, that's okay. Highlight what other qualities you bring to the table. What about you and your experiences makes you special and perfect for the job? Networking is one of the most important aspects to work and life in Sweden, including when applying for jobs. But it can feel daunting when you're new and don't speak Swedish. Let's cover how to build your network and why learning Swedish can be a game changer. Different cultural contexts can apply different meanings to the word networking. In some areas of the world, it entails getting the most LinkedIn connections possible, whereas in others, it might mean attending the most networking events per week. Sweden lies somewhere in the middle and has its own quirks that are good to keep in mind. Everyone has their own views on what makes good networking in Sweden, so we've tried to keep our information pretty general. Find out what works for you. There are three main aspects to networking the Swedish way: LinkedIn, career events, and through cultural connections. LinkedIn has grown in importance for Swedish professionals over the years. When it comes to finding connections and secondary connections, this is a great place to start. The best way that you can network through LinkedIn is to start following other people, including thought leaders and people you might have things in common with, and begin interacting with their posts. You can comment your own opinions on their posts and repost content you like. If that feels a bit scary, start by just reacting to their posts instead. By interacting with them, you're putting yourself on their radar and finding common points of connection. This can eventually lead to deeper virtual connections, or even in-person meetings. Whether hosted by universities, municipalities, or the employers themselves, career fairs are a great way to get a feel for what your options are. If you're a student, events might be held by your specific institution and have employers within your field. Check out events held by your local municipality or big employers that might be looking to hire en masse. Attend career events armed with a short pitch about yourself and what type of job you're looking for. Do your best to remember people's names and what company they work for. If you speak with someone and connect with them, ask if you can connect with them on LinkedIn and set up a virtual or in-person Fika. LinkedIn has a handy QR code feature to make it easier to quickly connect, so make sure to use it. And remember, be bold and be you. As important as official networking events are, unofficial events are just as important. The act of Fika is as Swedish as it gets, and this innocent sharing of coffee and sweets can help create meaningful relationships. Swedes tend to be willing to share their experiences and help out, and Fika is a great way to pick someone's brain in a structured, time-boxed way. Come prepared. If someone is taking time out of their day to speak with you, do some research on their professional profile and have concrete questions and asks that you want to get answered by that particular person. The big question that comes up is whether you need to know Swedish to find a job here. The answer to this question is tricky. In short, you could say not necessarily, but try to learn the basics regardless. It's absolutely true what they say. Swedes do tend to speak great English, ranking amongst the top of European countries in English proficiency pretty consistently. There are a huge number of global companies that have English as their working language, and a big number of non-Swedish and non-Swedish speaking employees. But think about the doors that even some of the most basic Swedish could open. You're not going to be fluent overnight, and you don't need to be. But keeping your options as open as possible with Swedish language skills will both benefit your chances of landing a job and integrating into Swedish society. To save yourself stress, it's best to start learning Swedish from the beginning of your time here. Many universities offer Swedish courses for their international students, which is a valuable resource that you should definitely take advantage of. Think about it. Instead of panicking and starting to learn Swedish just before graduating, you're giving yourself an additional 2 years to slowly learn and grow. If you want to seek other options, there are public programs like Swedish for Immigrants, or SFI, and private language schools if you want to fast-track your learning. There are even online tutors that you can work one-on-one with for a truly customized experience. Giving yourself additional time to learn Swedish lessens the pressure on you, establishes a track record of language learning for your CV, and gives you opportunities to practice more in the real world. Oh, did you hear me say opportunities to practice more? That's right. One of the fastest ways to advance your language is to practice, practice, practice. While it can be intimidating to practice speaking Swedish outside of the classroom, it is the best way to understand how locals speak and to use the language in a real-life context. Don't be afraid to look or sound a bit silly. Most people in Sweden understand what it's like to learn another language and are patient. You can start slowly, like ordering coffee in Swedish, and then work your way up from there. If speaking with people in the streets isn't your vibe, there are different språkcafé, or language cafes, where people go specifically to speak with other people. These are typically located near language schools and are a great way to practice Swedish in a safe and fun space. If you're not totally comfortable with your Swedish when you start applying for jobs, that's okay. Highlight what other qualities you bring to the table. What about you and your experiences makes you special and perfect for the job? It's important to be realistic with yourself and the company about your language abilities. For example, you shouldn't apply to work as a Swedish social worker if you don't speak Swedish fluently. But even when working with marketing or sales in the Swedish market, being realistic with the company and emphasizing your intention to continue learning Swedish can go a long way. So, let's get to it. Nu kör vi!